Oh, that was a good episode.
It was.
Very character-centric. Very important for the overall development of our main characters.
Oh, yeah.
Important for Gon, his father. We predicted the York-New connection, the father connection, the kind of Killua seeing the real family kind of thing. Oh my gosh, that was just everything we wanted in a peaceful Hunter x Hunter episode.
Right. And they set and I would say it's very important that they didn't just use it for character growth and stuff like that.
Right.
Even though that little talk that Killua had with Gon looking up at the stars and the moon was fantastic.
Yes.
They also used it to give a set direction for Gon specifically, more than just Hisoka.
Right. Which would have been something they could have ridden on the coattails of for a while.
But it's good that they set it.
But it's good they did this too. Because we already knew that he was looking for his father, but it's the idea of him kind of coming to see that as more important than Hisoka is a marked transition from where he was kind of reacting a bit to Hisoka's actions towards him, and he's like, I don't like that Hisoka.
Yeah.
I want to get him back, that kind of stuff.
And I like that Gon wasn't obsessing over his father the entire time.
Right.
Because a lot of times we might have big goals like that or things that we want to move towards, but we won't be moving towards them every minute of every day necessarily.
Exactly.
And in Gon's case, he was training to be a hunter and do all that stuff. Then he wanted to figure out Nen and all that. But the thing with his dad was still in the back of his mind. They didn't just dismiss it and never bring it up again, or bring it up like completely out of the blue. They did it in a very good way of like, okay, now that Gon doesn't have anything immediately pressing to worry about,
and he's a hunter.
Yep. Let's do the thing that he'd always wanted to do. Find his dad.
And also they had a very natural kind of stereotypical kind of thing of the father leaving the things for the son once they pass the certain milestone, coming of age, rite of passage type stuff.
Whatever.
Which is good, because it just works in general when you have these types of hero's journey, adventure storylines with the father-son dynamic being a somewhat estranged one, but also being one where the son still wants to find the father.
And the mom wasn't necessarily dead.
The mom was not necessarily dead.
She might not even have
a ponytail. Yes, I knew you were going to say that. but the cool thing though about the mother is it's not an idea of saying that they she's gone, she's somewhere out there. It's the idea that there's no clues that they have about her.
Right. They could even introduce the mother and have neither of them know it. Well, no, the mom would probably know it because Gon's kind of the spitting image of his dad.
Gon is the exact image of Jing. Right. So it's very, very telling that the boatman in episode 1 recognized him immediately. Yes, he's like, whoa, deja vu.
He's like, you look exactly like that one other dude that's come from this island and become a hunter.
But not only that, he was the same age.
Exactly.
And it
was probably a real sense of deja vu, like this has happened before.
Right.
Yeah. So I kind of wish they had shown a little bit of like the fact that the way Gon and Killua got back there was like maybe on the same boat or something.
I think that would have been a little bit of meandering.
Maybe that would have been a bit much, but like
that would have been a little bit.
But the island seems to be kind of out of the way, so
yeah. But since they have a hunter's license, they can take like flying transportation. Now, maybe.
Heck, they're so strong they probably could have just swam there like speedboats. Like
but that would have been really slow, probably comparatively to a zeppelin that just goes straight there.
I don't know.
I also think that travel time is only really important if there's something contributing to the story that's going to happen there. Otherwise, time skipping like this, I really appreciate it. Yeah. Especially if there's not things that are going on in the rest of the world that we really care about.
I just think that would have been a nice little touch that they could have done of having the boat captain being like, "Oh, hey, you're back, and I see you have your hunter's license. Good job."
Oh, sure. That could have been really cool.
I mean, not that it would have been like super necessary.
Yeah, they could have spent 60 seconds maybe on it.
Exactly.
But the thing is, this episode had so much other stuff tightly packed into it.
It did.
That I really am glad they didn't do it. Because even if they took away things that were more comical, like Granny giving these kind of embarrassing comments and stuff, one of the things that they set for this episode that they didn't do back when the show first started, which I've heard though in the 1999 version they did do, was they set the idea that he was leaving something that was good to go on the hunter's exam. Yeah. But we didn't have that connection before. So now
I think we kind of did.
Well, not nearly as much as we do now. It's night and day to me. But the idea that when you bring Killua into this situation, he's not used to this, and Gon is.
Right.
And we are like Killua in that instance, that we are not fully, aware of how things work around here. But seeing how familiar they are with each other, we get this kind of warm endearment towards them that we wouldn't have gotten if there was no contextual point of reference for us to latch onto.
So now that they have that little message from Gon's dad, they're probably going to go straight there.
I think they're going to go, I think they're going to go on a little bit of a hunt for him, because they have a month until York knew. So it can be basically a mini arc of them going
on. A mini arc. That's true. They have done
a bit of a look for the
they have done month time skips in an episode before.
They could just go straight to York.
But they will probably have some new information. I doubt that.
Right.
What
is the message on the memory card?
Yeah, exactly. And what does the ring do? And I doubt that on the tape it just said so there's this city called York New. Go there. So.
You want to know a crazy thought, Jacob? You know that pattern that Wing has and stuff like that? What if the dad built those things? What if the dad is this legendary hunter who makes things that interact with Nen in a specific way?
Well, do you think Gon's dad is also an enhancement type person, or do you think he's something different?
I don't think it's really important yet. I don't think it's important yet.
Okay.
The idea that the Nen technique that he had to use to do it was just releasing his aura into it. It was the same way in that the band on the finger, any type of Nen being used would make it break. So there wasn't some specific type of huts that they had to put into.
Well, it could have been some kind of transmutation to make the things react to Nen in that way.
But we don't know that yet.
Of course
so
not.
I don't think it's relevant yet. It's the question of whether or not those things came from someone of importance to the plot, or it's just a side thing that we're not meant to care about as much.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what if it's the dad?
Possibly, but
possibly
that seems like the kind of thing that would actually be pretty common, and having that be relegated to the dad seems a bit unnecessary.
I agree. It's not necessary, but I'm trying to think of something that in this episode gave us a little bit of a hint towards his location at all.
Oh, towards his location,
or towards what he's been doing. Because I think we made mention that he was an archaeologist.
Yeah, and that he wanted to restore the ruins and stuff.
Right.
And then the bit we got about his personality was from Mito saying that she was always seeing his back.
So he was very wanderlusty. He always needed to be moving.
Yeah.
He needed to be constantly seeing things. In a way, he and Gon are exactly the same.
Sure.
I wonder if that's actually going to be a plot point in the future, is the idea that they are exactly the same. But once Gon starts to develop and mature and maybe go down a little bit of his not-so-good side, when Hisoka referenced the idea of breaking him, is the idea that either Gon's dad has already gone through that same experience, or he's not, and he's about to. Maybe it's a thing of where he'll be the picture of what Gon could become in the negative sense.
Right.
Or he'll be the positive one, and it'll be great, and it'll be...
No, they've already established that he's not the best guy. They specifically didn't tell him anything about his dad because they didn't want Gon to become like him.
Well, I think one of the ideas of them not wanting him to be like Jing is that he readily abandoned everyone.
Right.
And it's the idea that I think that is a trait that, as a family, you'd go, oh, I don't want Gon to be someone that abandons their family.
Yeah, and I don't think Gon will end up having that issue, even when it comes to his friends or whatever.
No, but I don't think that necessarily makes Jing evil. It doesn't necessarily make him even bad.
No, but I think we from the show up till this point, we've gotten some subtle foreshadowing bits that. Okay, Jing wasn't the best guy.
Do you think that he's gonna have to fight his dad at some point?
Seriously, not necessarily.
Okay.
But I think,
I feel like we're getting misdirected a bit. I feel like Gon's dad is not bad, not evil, not an antagonist. He is someone that has a more gray line of thinking.
Right.
And he is not antagonistic at all towards Gon. And Gon's not even really going to be antagonistic towards him. It's going to be more of a, why didn't you, like, you know, like, I want answers to my questions, and then I'm going to leave you. It's kind of that kind of thing. I feel like Gon's nature is such as that he won't necessarily even be that vindictive at all towards Jing unless he says, like, oh, your mother, I killed her, or something like that. It's like, whoa, where'd that come from?
It killed me to put that tumor inside her.
Yeah. I feel like that is not what they're hinting at. They could...
No, I don't think so either.
They could be going the route of, hey, the father is another representation of Gon's like eventual like maturing into something that's not good. But I don't think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's way too soon to jump into the he's bad camp, because one, he's not in the Phantom Troop, and the Phantom Troop is only really the first like group of bad guys we know of thus far, other than Hisoka.
Right.
So
and Hisoka is one of the Phantom Troop right now, kind of.
Yeah.
So
technically, but not really. You know,
yeah.
Like sort of, but not.
I mean,
really.
He probably at least counts as one of the 13.
Right.
Even if he's trying to play them.
Yeah, whatever that reason is. But back to the dad. Mm-hmm. I'm getting more of a Hohenheim vibe from him.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
But no, like exactly, like literally Hohenheim. It's the idea that you're meant to think he's the bad guy, like Hohenheim.
Yeah.
But the idea is no, he's not. He's got his own thing that he's doing.
And he's going around and doing stuff with old civilizations.
Like Xerxes, you know.
Yeah.
It's exactly like Hohenheim. And I'm sure that Hohenheim got some ideas maybe from this, but the thought that we are... I think this is maybe another example of not underestimating the dad. I don't think they'll boil him down to be a simple character.
No.
And that simple character, I think a bad guy is about as simple as it gets for the dad.
Yes.
It's about as stereotypical and tropey.
Well, yeah, because you're just using those words to describe it. But, like, Hisoka is a bad guy, but...
Well, he has no relation to Gon outside of their interactions. It's the idea that Hisoka stumbled into Gon's path. There was no, like, fated battle between father and son kind of BS, you know? So I think it's way less tropey for Hisoka.
Yeah, but they could absolutely do it. They could absolutely handle it well with
But what are you basing that? What are you basing that evidence on? Like, what is your basis for Gon's dad being bad or even antagonistic?
I'm basing it on the fact that I would say this point is at least a point of conflict that they're going to have.
What's this, though?
The fact that his dad left him. All right, his dad left him. So,
okay,
and
has Gon shown
with no problem.
Any negative feelings with that? No. In fact, he said, "You should have. Don't you have any negative feelings?" No, I just want to know why he did it.
Right.
I just want to know why being a hunter was more important than raising me. I'm not saying
Gon's going to be super mad at his dad. He's not Edward Elric, right?
I know.
But it is still a point of conflict.
How so?
Because he's looking for his dad.
And he's not found his dad yet?
Exactly.
But that is not the dad that's the conflict source then. The source is the fact that the state of where his dad is.
All right. Let's just start from the top here.
Okay.
Gon's dad left Gon.
Right.
Regardless of whether Gon is upset about that or not, that is not a super lawful, good, upstanding thing to do, right?
Okay.
So he's not at least the paragon of virtue.
Right. I never said he was.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So that means he is at least going into the shade of gray, which is what I said. Which is what you're saying you think he is.
Right.
Or he might even be towards a bit of the darker side.
Okay.
And I think that is a bit more likely, specifically because
right. And that part.
Here's why. Because there's no reason for the Phantom Troop, right? There's the fact that, Hisoka's in there and he's doing whatever it is that he's doing at the Phantom Troop. But right now, the person with the strongest ties to the Phantom Troop is Kurapika. And Kurapika is a side character. I would say at this point, more of a side character than Killua.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, no, like, Killua and Gon are the main characters.
Yeah, right. Even though Kurapika and Leorio got introduced first.
Right.
So, the Phantom Troop is just a now thing. They might spend quite a bit of time on them, but unless, like, there's no reason for Gon to have a particular tie to the Phantom Troop other than Hisoka. Once Hisoka's out of the way, the Phantom Troop, for all intents and purposes, is out of the way as well.
Right, unless... so you're thinking, like, big picture, down the line.
Yeah.
So you're thinking there's a high likelihood, because of the amount of time the dad will probably be involved in the story, at some point he will end up being antagonistic towards Gon, thereby...
Right, and I'm not saying that he has to be like the supreme baddie or something like that.
No, you're just saying that he'll be antagonistic towards Gon, as opposed to where I'm saying he won't be at all.
Right.
I think that's not a big stretch in logic, because I feel like that the point is that you're using a bit of what you would like it to be rather than what we are being hinted at it being.
I think we have gotten it hinted at it, though, that he's not a super upstanding guy.
Yes, but that doesn't mean he's antagonistic towards Gon. One of the things that I think we're making the point is that Gon and him won't have necessarily some negative relationship. They probably will at some point, but as to whether or not they will have anything more than a why did you do this?
I don't think there will be a point where they're staring down at each other and it's like, it's come to this, I'm sorry it had to end this way. No, you're not. You know?
So antagonistic being his goals, are against Gon's goals.
There's some clash there.
Yeah, and I see that not happening.
Right, and I would be disappointed if that didn't happen, because that seems like it would be a great point of conflict and a way for Gon to basically split from his dad and become more of his own person. Because right now they've been stressing so much how similar Gon is to his dad, and that's good to have. But
yes, I think you're right. But I don't think that's going to be needed by him to go up to his dad. I think his dad, he's not going to see him for a long time.
Yes, that's definitely possible.
Hold on, you're interrupting me. I think this bit where he's saying, do you want to see me, is more of a thing of saying, like, I'm going to lead you on a trail, basically.
Sure, yeah.
The dad will probably not be seen for a long time.
Yes.
And it's the idea that because he's searching for him, if anything, something up ahead in the journey might make it so that Gon starts to deviate already long before he meets his dad.
Sure.
So that by the time they do meet, it's I don't even recognize you.
Well, I mean, yeah, they've never known each other, so...
No, I mean, the idea that the dad doesn't recognize Gon, Jacob. Like,
okay.
Because the idea is that he should kind of have that stereotypical thing of, like, you have the look of your mother, or like, like you and I look exactly alike, or that was me when I was your age. But I think it's going to be more of a thing of, you're my son.
I would be absolutely thrilled if they did that, because that would be more conflict.
I think that would be a good conflict to show that there's something different about them now, and that's why they come into this any element of antagonistic thing. But I think right now there is nothing to base the antagonism of either character right now. I think if anything, you can tell that the father wants him to become a hunter and such. He wants him to follow him. He wants him to have these beneficial things that will aid him on the quest to find him. But the father wants something more than he wanted Gon in his life. And that, if anything, is, I think, a little bit of a conflict within us, because we think Gon should have a negative thing towards that. But so far as what we've seen almost no vindictive animosity, frustration, anger,
which they need
anything from Gon towards the dad. And I think that's more of Gon's uniqueness,
even if they keep it as that and they don't like change that or something, because it could totally be possible that Gon just doesn't realize that he actually has a lot of animosity towards his dad until he meets him. But even if they don't have him have any animosity, they need to delve into a bit more, probably when he actually meets his dad or whatever, sometime around then. The fact that he doesn't have any animosity, because in order to make that really feel real, they need to give it, I would say, a little bit more attention than they have so far.
Well, see, that's the thing. You're attached to the idea of how you would like Gon's reaction to be.
Oh no, I'm not saying that
it is.
No, I'm not saying that his reaction has to be something or other.
No, you said you'd be disappointed basically if he didn't have any kind of negative reaction.
I said I hope he does, but even if he doesn't, I would be disappointed if they didn't give a bit more attention to the question of, do you have animosity or not?
Well, yeah, but we've already brought that up. It was the idea that
but I think it's only been brought up like once or something.
Yes, sure, but the thing is, he's never interacted with his dad, he doesn't have to think about it. I think one of the things we forget about Gon Jacob is he doesn't think like you or I.
Yeah,
he's a very simple person,
yep.
very simple and earnest.
Yes, absolutely.
If it's not presently in front of him,
yep.
I think it's very hard for him to bring it up.
Yes.
So one of the things that we can do with that is we get a very good look at actually what's going on with Gon. Like what we see is what we get for now.
Absolutely.
But in the future, what I'm agreeing with you, what you're saying is that he could grow up, he could mature.
Absolutely.
He could get a little bit darker. He could get a little bit more of a different view of the world. And if that happens, then you're going to see a little bit more subtlety, and then you're going to have to ask the question, wait, what's going on inside Gon's head?
Right.
But right now, he has none of the typical estranged boy from father stuff that would hint at him having this eventual conflict with the father. Therefore, I'm saying I think they're going to keep that aspect of his personality up for a long time because he's not going to see his father for a long time.
I am absolutely on board that he's probably not going to see his dad for a long time. The fact that his dad was one of the first things brought up before even the Phantom Troop, and the Phantom Troop is what they're focusing on right now, that means that Gon's dad is probably going to be, at least fairly endgame-ish material.
Right.
The reason that I was thinking like, okay, what exactly are they going to do with his dad is the fact that they're starting to address it again now before they deal with the Phantom Troop, and right now after the Phantom Troop, depending on how long it takes them to deal with it and all that, I don't see what's going to be the big conflict after that.
Right. So you're thinking about it again from a meta shonen perspective, and I feel
that's just a story perspective.
Well, no, conflict being a story thing, but you're also thinking about it as an antagonist, not necessarily as a general conflict, because he's a person. It's the he will be the antagonist of the story at that point, once they find him or what have you.
No, not necessarily, but I'm saying that's an opening that is like that can't be ignored. I mean,
I feel like I like to make really like jump the gun kind of crackpot theories, and this isn't a crackpot theory by any means, but I feel like it's a misinterpretation of current evidence.
Well, we haven't been given a whole lot to go on yet. It's been a lot of ambiguous stuff related to Gon's dad.
You like to state a lot of it as being like fact, like it's like this because of the fact is it goes this specific way.
I would say I haven't been doing that any more than you.
Okay, probably.
Like,
but it's a thing where the father is a quest goal. He is not on the side of the angels or the demons, or even necessarily on anyone's side in the story.
Exactly. He is a set of conflicts specifically.
Right. So the journey is the conflict, not the end goal. That's my point. Is that finding the dad is the conflict, not the dad himself. Not anything even coming from the dad, potentially. It's the idea that they could spend an arc just looking for him.
Absolutely.
And then they find him, and it's like, oh, good, you found me. Good job. And then they go and do whatever story comes next, and then it could end up being an antagonist and such. I'm just wagering that he's not.
Well,
it's going to be kind of a goal. It's like the Secret Hunter exam. It's like, well done. You passed the next test.
Right.
Because I think every single arc we've done just ends up being some kind of test for Gon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I mean, you got to have conflict to some degree, so, every part of the story is some sort of test.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, we're talking over each other, but I get what you're saying, and I think you get what I'm saying, so it's good. This episode, I feel like, needs to be mentioned specifically as being one of the better written episodes.
Yeah,
in terms of just giving out the amount of information that they did in the way that they gave it out, and setting up storylines, and being such a pivotal anchor episode in between arcs. It basically needs to get praise as being like a high 8 or 9 out of 10 episode as far as like if we went back and looked at this story as a whole,
this would be one of the ones.
This would be one of the ones that we stand out and go back to. In particular.
Not just because of the quality, because the quality is good, but it's also the fact, I would say, that we don't get this kind of episode very often.
Right. So context matters a lot with this episode.
Yeah.
And overall, I think that makes it go from being a good episode to a great episode.
Yes, absolutely.
Other than that, the standout moments I really loved were all the comedy.
Yes.
There was some great comedy. The fact he's like, Yes, it's something that you didn't have before you were a hunter. Good! I'm gonna stick my hunter's license. And Killua's like, are you freaking serious right now? Like, this kid is so dumb.
Or when they're running off to, like, go hang out and play or whatever, and they're trying to, like, trip each other and, like, cut in front on the wall.
They're using their nen, or basically their speed techniques.
Yeah, just their great physical prowess.
Right. And that's just hilarious, because you think about it, if you were in their shoes, and you're just running around your old homestead,
but you have like super
speed and strength, you just jump around.
You would absolutely do everything.
You would abuse the heck out of that,
and jump 200-300 feet into the water.
You would
absolutely do that.
So what it does for us is it makes us feel like their friendship is genuine, and it makes us feel really attached to the idea of them going around the world and spending time together, because then they can do goofy stuff like this, and learn very interesting things about, say, Gon's father.
Yep. Yeah, it just makes it feel a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think it's just a very well written, like, every bit of this episode was intentional. I think even the bits where they showed the subtlety of the potential relationship tension between Mito and Jing was a very subtle point of saying, like, hey, love is a weird thing. Mm-hmm. And it has different forms, and it's not necessarily a thing that's purely romantic. It's the idea of chasing after someone and them not really receiving your love. It's the idea that Gon is about to go chasing after someone who he might only end up seeing the back of. It's the idea that, him and Killua might end up in this kind of similar place at some point. And
especially if Gon starts going down a bit of a dark path or whatever.
Yeah. I can see that there was a lot of things seeded in this episode, but more importantly, it was an anchor episode. It's that pivotal moment where one fault line hits another fault line. There's a little bit of tension, but it drives the land in a specific direction.
So from the supplying character development to the show standpoint. Would this episode be able to be considered potentially a whale?
Ha 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 ha! Wah 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 wah! Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
It was bad.
It was bad, but it was bad enough that it was good. Yeah. All right, well, guys, if you want to watch the next 2 episodes of our Hunter x Hunter reactions, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. Get on early access, and also comes with Discord. You can chat with us there about storytelling or what have you. Oh, yeah. And we'll see you all there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And of course, we'll see you all next time.